Namaskar. Hope you are doing good and the life is good in the time of preparation where you are preparing for various examinations. Have you ever imagined or wondered how the big gigantic ice shelf broke off from the main island? What that could lead to in the nearby environment and what is the possible impact of that on the nearby diversity if any presence like that? Recently, the Amery ice shelf of Antarctica has broke off from the main continent of Antarctica ice sheet, and then it's grabbed the attention of the public and environmentalists worldwide. Now suppose an ice shelf broke off from the main island. What could be the possible impact of it on the ocean? It can, suppose in the examination the questions frames alike. It can create a lake in the ice shelf. B. Will it create a passage for the boats to navigate through the ice sheets? C. It will create hydraulic pressure while surface melting. D. Will help to attract fisheries nearby the coastline as it adds up the nutrients into the sea. And the questions can be in the permutation combination of alike. Which are the statements are correct? A, B, C, D all are false. A, C, D is correct. Only A and C is correct. So in that manner, nowadays the UPSC has changed its pattern for the conceptual as well as the factual one. So we have made this video. We will be discussing the various aspects related with the Amery ice sheets. Not only this location, the other important locations that had been used related with Antarctica as well. Then we will be even discussing what are the forces, what are the processes that involves into it, how it can be solved, and so and so forth. So stay tuned with us and now start with the first impact, that where exactly the Amery ice sheet of Antarctica is located. So here in this map, as you can see, this is the entire continent of Antarctica. This is the entire continent of Antarctica and this is the southernmost continent of our earth. Here this is the east direction and this is the west direction. Mind it, in the east direction here precisely is the location for the Amery ice shelf. The questions can be framed differently by the location. Maybe in the examination this continent figure will be there and there will be 1, 2, 3, 4 points on these locations, and then they'll mark from the north to south, from the east to west direction, the various ice sheets of Antarctica. Name can be here in this place of Amery, they can write the Amery ice shelf. So you should be very precise with the location. It is situated on the east coast of Antarctica. This is the precise location of Amery ice sheet. On the west side, this is on the west side, here a location of a Mary Bread land. This has also been in the news recently because there is a presence of hot water. Mind it, hot water in Antarctica. Antarctica, which is completely freezed by the ice and the cold continent, there is a presence beneath this area of a hot water or a hot spring. Still the research are going on and the researchers are wondering that this may help the Mary Bread land to melt, and this may help in the rise of the seawater level in the southern ocean. So think about it. If there is a rise in the water table of the southern ocean, what could be an impact on the nearby island and on the biodiversity of this area, on the penguins, on the krills, on the sea fishes that found over here. So this is another location to the north of Antarctica is the Queen Maud land, and this is south to the Amery ice shelf is the locations of the Weekly's land. So these importance can be asked in permutation combination for various examination, and especially for the civil service aspirants it is very important to know these aspects. Now coming to the size, this is just an interesting fact that size of an iceberg greater than the London has broke off the Amery ice shelf and it is named as D28. D28 is the name of the ice shelf that has broke off the Amery ice shelf, and scientists think what is the cause of this break off. is not due to the climate change. Mind it, it is not due to the climate change. Rather, the scientist thinks that it is a part in the parcel of a normal cycle of the ice shelf. Usually on a 50, 60, 70 year cycle, this broke off, this calving of the ice sheets happen in Antarctica. We already have discussed that why is this in the news? Because one of the largest glacial drainage basin, mind it, it's a fluvial, it's not the perennial fluvial drainage basin, it's a glacial desert basin in Antarctica, and it is located on the east coast of Antarctica. Icebergs broke off and the large chunks of ice can pose a danger to ships that navigate through the Antarctic water. So these are the brief facts regarding that. Moving on to the other aspects of this, we will be discussing other things. Before that, I would request you to have a look on this video. And this video depicts, these are the large chunks of the ice shelves of Antarctica. Let's have a look, and it is floating on the sea. While if you see that due to some other factors or the tension factors beneath this ocean ice sheets, there is a crack develop, and this crack will further lead to the break off of the ice sheets from the main body. You have a look. Now see, the shining of the sun can be also added reason for the melting of the ice sheet, but it is not the only and the certain reason known to the scientist so far. Even in the winter season, the scientist has some apprehensions that the ice sheets are melting, and the surface melting in the Antarctica is on large scale. This in the image that is right now playing in this video is a crack which is going to be developed. These are the cracks, and these cracks are known as the crevasses. When certain kind of the cracks develop, they are known as crevasses. This is the tip, this is the Davis station, and this is the Mawson station. These two locations, this is Davis station and this is the Mawson station. This is Amery ice shelf, and these two tips are the research station of Australia. So Mawson station and the Davis station is also in station. So question can be from like, the Amery ice sheet is situated between the station of Davis, and there can be some other name like the Robinson station. So you should be knowing that no, it is between the Mawson station and the Davis station. These both are the research station on Antarctica of Australia. Mind it, it's of Australia. So maybe the question can be framed, even the research station of the Mawson station and Davis stations are related with which country? Australia, Britain, England, none of the above. So you should be very precise whatever you are reading. So this is another example of the same incident, that the biggest iceberg on the earth is about to enter into the ocean, referred to as the name is A68. Here is in presence of another ice sheet. This is also in Antarctic Peninsula, that A68 iceberg has broke off the main continent of Antarctica in 2017, and then it started moving. Here in this image you can see it started moving towards the southern ocean nearby Antarctica, and then the moving, and finally since 2020 it has gone way apart from that. Now it is a danger for the navigative sea in this area, because if any ships get hit by that, it will be collapsed into the ocean. If you remember the movie Titanic, the Titanic collapses into the sea because of an hit with an iceberg. So presence of an iceberg into the sea is not a good sign for the navigation and for the boats. So hopefully you are enjoying this session, and moving onwards we can analyze some other facts associated with that. This is another image. In that, here is the precise location of the Antarctic ice shelf, which is in the news, Amery ice shelf. This is the Antarctic Circle, and this is the Southern Ocean. So these are the location which can be asked, that whether the Antarctica is surrounded by Southern Ocean or not. So you should be knowing all this precise location. These are some other name of this ice shelves or the ice body located on Antarctica. Like this is then the Russell Larsen, this ice sheet is the Fimbul, This is the Larsen Sea. Larsen Sea is the fourth largest ice sheet on Antarctica. This is the George VI. This is Wilkinson. This is Ronne, Flinders. This is the Ross. This is Amery. So these locations, this location can be asked on a various form, like from north to south, from east to west direction, in the west direction, from north to south. So these locations just have in your mind. This can be asked via various permutation combination in examination. So you must be knowing that the Amery ice shelf is the third largest shelf in Antarctica. So now, what is exactly an ice shelf is? An ice shelf is a section of ice that just outs into the sea. So when a large chunk of ice broke off, just initially broke off from the mainland and it enters into the sea, it is known as ice shelf. When it completely floats on the ocean, it is known as iceberg. So that is a small differentiation. Now coming to next in understanding that how exactly this ice shelf carving takes place, this broke off takes place. So suppose this is a main island or the mainland where the iceberg is there. So now ice is piling up into the center, and this then due to the friction beneath and the forces and the pressure beneath, this ice thinning at the margin and moves towards this, from this area to this area. At this margin, when there is under melting of the ice is happened due to the contact of the ocean with this contact and this thinning, then there creates some, these are the line, create some crevasses, and then finally this area breaks off as a carved iceberg, and then it started moving and floating on the open ice. So this is a simplified diagram which explains the process of self carving. And there are some important facts that you should recall in the examination, that this event is not, again it is not linked to climate change. It's a part of a ice shelf normal cycle where a major carving events occur every 60 to 70 years as per the recent researchers. There are few facts that you can recall for your purpose of answering various kind of questions into the examination, and this is a summing of the facts. Number one is the ice shelf named as D28 broke off the Amery ice shelf on September 2020. The last major calving like this has happened on Antarctica in 1960s. So after 1960, in 2020 it has happened. So nearly a gap of 60 years. Scientists do not believe that the event is linked to climate change and say a major calving event happens every 60 to 70 years on a cyclic basis. Scientists had been monitoring, although they have some apprehension, that is why they are monitoring a section of the ice shelf known as the loose tooth, and this loose tooth is located nearby the D28 or the Amery ice shelf. Why it is called as a loose tooth? Because it is look precariously attached still to the main island of Antarctica. So when a tooth is about to fall from your jaw, it is largely attached to the main muscle, so it is known as a loose tooth. The term can be asked in various questions, so just for your remembrance and capacity to resolve, these terms has been used in this presentation. Another fact that you should know, that this carving will not directly impact the sea level. It can indirectly impact the sea level but not immediately, because there is no melting of the ice shelf immediately just after the broke up from the mainland. What it happens exactly, it floats much like an ice cube, same as if you put a ice into the water of a glass. But what will be interesting to see is how the loss of this ice will influence the ocean melting under the remaining ice shelf and the speed at which this ice flows off the continent. So these are the important aspects that you precisely know, because the questions can be asked in a manner that immediate this can impact the rise in the sea level. No, not immediately, maybe in the long run. In July 2017, This is just an example of the same event, that 1 trillion ton ice purge measuring of nearly 5,800 square kilometer was culled from Larsen Sea ice shelf in Antarctica, and this Larsen Sea is the 4th largest ice shelf in Antarctica, which covers nearly this much, nearly 46,500 square kilometer of area. Moving towards next, what is the future concern for the scientists in those areas? Just have a look at this. When this ice shelf was there, due to the surface melting, this area, there a water body and a lake develops. These are in the process of developing a lake due to the surface melting. When these lakes, in this image, these are the lakes. These are the lakes which is in process of development. When these lakes developed in this area, they exerted a pressure on the beds of this ice sheet. This is known as hydraulic pressure, pressure due to the water mass. And ultimately, due to the presence and the pressure of this water body, beneath this there will be a crack, and this entire body mass of water along with this ice shelf can just can be sucked by the ocean, and then the entire this area and the water will be pumped down into the ocean. That may be seen as an beneath the ocean, a kind of a waterfall same as the size of a Niagara. Imagine the impressive view that one can have if you are present there. So a massive ice covered Lake Antarctica vanished within days, raising alarm bells in the scientist community over the dangerous strain that the climate change is posing in those cold areas and the global warming. Scientists believe that an estimated 21 billion to 26 billion cubic feet of water that drained into the ocean could raise sea levels. Could raise. It is not certain that it will raise. The lake vanishes within 3 days after the ice shelf underneath collapse. And I just explained how this process of collapsing happened in those areas. The weight of water accumulated in this deep lake opened a fissure, a crack in the ice shelf beneath the lake, a process known as hydrofracture. So hydrofracture is the main process that happened, and that is responsible for the vanishing of the lake that formed after the ice shelf or the iceberg broke off the main island. Moving next, the other future concerns are a large lake being open. So maybe in many areas this kind of the lake can open, and this is an equivalent lake held more water than the Sydney Harbour as well. So and they disappear in a very small span of time, 3 days, 2 days or the 4 days. And the surface melting is another apprehension and the danger to those areas. It is predicted to increase significantly during the coming decades, but the implication for their stabilities, like how they will be stable, is largely unknown. So still the research are going on in this field. Ice shelf collapse is another future concept, and the scientists believe that these incidents are going to be more and more in future due to the rising in air temperature and future global warming, and this can create more lakes in those areas, and this in turn can create the sea level rise in future, but not immediately. Another fact which is associated with it is this ice shelf collapse are not only limited to the summer season alone. These are happening in winters as well, and even this witnessing as the melting drift the researchers and try to understand how meltwater forms, flows and alter the surface. It is still largely unknown. So for the better implementation and better understanding, the more research are going on in this field. Thank you for staying tuned with us. Hope the questions coming from these sections can be answered thoroughly by you. And there are some conceptual questions that you can answer to us in the comment section if you like the video, and if you like to make more such videos for you, and if it's helpful for you, please subscribe to our website www.ensembleis.com. stay tuned with us and try to answer these questions by yourself. Like, can you elaborate the process of ice self-carving? That how it happens, what's the process with diagram? Hope you can answer it. Critically evaluate the impact of temperature rise and formation of lakes in Antarctica. And another question that we can discuss is write short notes on hydrofracture. End of this video, we will be definitely coming up with the more videos like that for your help for various examination. Thank you. Stay tuned with ensembleis.com. Have a nice day. Namaskar.
To have more such discussions and analysis, subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon for notifications on our upcoming videos.